What's up, my friend? Abby here, and welcome back to Writer's Life Wednesday. If you're new around here, what's up? We are talking about romance this month because it's February, and most people associate February with Valentine's Day, even though I know Valentine's Day is just an excuse to eat chocolate, but I'm not going to complain about that. Today we're talking about my personal favorite type of romance: hate to love. If you're unfamiliar with the term, hate to love romance essentially means when the characters that are going to be the couple in the story start the story as not a couple. They're completely disinterested in each other. They even resent each other, and they end the story in love and realizing that they are in fact perfect for each other. As you can imagine, a lot of character development has to take place in order for this major change of heart to feel believable to the reader. So is it tricky to write? Yeah. But is it worth it? Yeah. Looking back on the stories that I've already written and the stories that I've been plotting in my head for years now, I realized that this is my favorite romance trope because I use it so much. I also love to read stories with hate to love romance, and evidently a lot of other people do too. What are some well-known stories with hate to love romance? I can take these books out without destroying my aesthetic. Pride and Prejudice and Anne of Green Gables. There are of course lots more, but today we are going to use these two best-selling books as examples. Although it rarely happens in real life, hate to love romance is a pleasure to read and a pleasure to write. It makes your story more dynamic because a huge change of heart has to take place with your characters. And if it's written well, it can make your book so addictive, readers will not be able to put it down. So with my experience of writing and fangirling over hate to love romance, today I'm going to show you how to craft a realistic feeling and brilliant story arc that will take your characters from enemies to more than friends. Okay, so first thing you gotta do, establish the reason behind the hate. Before we begin, we have to dig into the first impressions of these characters. Whether they've loathed each other for a long time now or only just met and did not hit it off, nobody hates without a reason. In fact, hate in this scenario can be better described as a negative judgment one character makes about another character based on their perspective. That sounds a little philosophical, but that's basically what it boils down to. So what negative judgments have your characters made about each other? Let's take, for example, Pride and Prejudice. When Elizabeth first meets Darcy, she's immediately put off by his pride and arrogance, not to mention his miserable expression. On the opposite end of the spectrum, Darcy judges the laughing and lighthearted Lizzie as barely tolerable and is repelled by her family's lack of propriety. Let's just say it's not a smooth start to one of the greatest love stories of all time. Bad first impressions are usually the root of all dislike. When we don't know a person, we're trying to decide whether or not we should trust them. And if they show any sign of being unlikable, our brain is quick to judge. So if you don't have a first impression moment in your backstory when your characters first meet, I highly recommend you craft one, even if it's backstory. Write the scene. Feel the tension and the conflict happening in these characters. Know the root of their problem with each other, and you'll be able to write their problem so much better. Next thing you gotta figure out, who hates who? Relationships are always more dynamic than simply we hate each other. As you probably noticed in the last question, there's a lot more tension and conflict happening below the surface. But what if the bad feeling is not mutual? What if person A hates person B, but person B actually likes person A? The plot thickens. Although this is still technically hate to love romance, it throws a monkey wrench into an otherwise simple relationship. This is actually one of my favorite types of romance because there's so much potential for a whole bunch of different types of plot twists. Let's take Anne of Green Gables, for example. When Anne first meets Gilbert, she smashes a slate over his head. Not a good first impression because he insensitively teased her. Also, not a good first impression. But what Anne doesn't realize is that Gilbert actually likes her. Despite their competitive relationship, he admires her spirit, imagination, and determination to constantly better him. This not only creates more conflict for the characters, but it makes the reader more intrigued to see what kind of change of heart is gonna happen next. What if they both change their minds about each other? Then, my friend, we have a mess on our hands. Shout out to one of my favorite books of all time. Oh, and another thing, don't forget the halfway point friendship. Nothing will make your hate to love romance seem unbelievable, then your character's going from hating each other to loving each other just like that. A change of heart is never sudden, okay? It happens over time. Think of your story like the alphabet. Between A and Z, you have 24 other letters. You have all these other moments in your story, and that's that middle ground that makes the change of heart believable. This is usually the place of friendship, or we don't really know what we are, but we're getting along and it's weird. Remember that although it's clear to the reader what's going on, your characters don't understand a thing. They won't be able to pinpoint the moment that their heart started to change, even if the reader can. At the end of Pride and Prejudice, when Elizabeth asks Darcy when he started to fall in love with her, he replies, "I was in the middle before I knew that I had begun." See? Even Mr. Darcy doesn't know what's going on. And when things start to get more than friendly, let your characters resist love. Chances are your characters have been hating each other for a long time. They've gotten used to it, they've gotten stuck in their ways, and anything unfamiliar, any unfamiliar feeling is going to scare them. Which means when they first feel love for this person that they've been hating for so long, they're not gonna be like, huh, I guess I was wrong, and I actually really love that person. No, they're more likely gonna be like, am I feeling an emotion? Get it off. This is what makes hate to love romance so enjoyable, even comical sometimes. Our biology rebels against change of any kind, which includes a change of heart from enemies to more than friends. When our hard-won beliefs are challenged by new feelings and ideas, we A, feel exposed, B, feel afraid, and C, try desperately to hold on to our old beliefs. Of course, your character's efforts to stay on the warpath are going to be futile, but you have to let them fight. If they cave to the first flicker of affection they feel for their nemesis, let's just say your readers are gonna be closing the book and leaving it on the shelf forever. Let's go back to our example of Anne of Green Gables. It takes a lot of time and introspection for Anne to finally come around and realize that she does indeed have feelings for Gilbert. She has to swallow her pride and come to grips with the fact that she was wrong all this time. Not an easy revelation for any of us. Now, every story is different, so your character's internal conflict will be unique to them, but how they overcome their obstacles and win their aha moment, that's what the story is truly about. All right, my friend, go forth and write your brilliant hate to love romance. You know you can do this, don't overthink it, but do remember these tips. And if you need more help with creating relatable and addictive characters, check out this video I made where I give away my template for the ultimate character profile. Comment below and tell me, are you obsessed with hate to love romance like I am, or what is your favorite romance trope? I'm guessing it's probably not insta-love. Also comment below and tell me about some other stories, movies, TV shows, books, whatever, that include hate to love romance that you personally love. Smash that like button if you like this video, and be sure to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because I post writing videos every Wednesday, and I would love to have you here in the community. Until next week, my friend, rock on. Shh.